And when my pec is stretched, I'm holding tension tight. And then all I'm doing is from a dead stop, I'm driving like it would be like my palms are open, and I'm just pushing through like this. And that really makes your chest push instead of just drive like this where your chest will cave.
Actually, can you do that again? I'm gonna use that as a thumbnail.
Yeah, of course. Calories in, be in a caloric surplus, put on that weight, and then worry about dieting. Now, it don't matter how lean you are if you have no muscle, right? This is bodybuilding. It's not a dieting competition. So, Better Bodies, April 6th. Come check it out. Anybody that's prepped knows that when you start getting really depleted, you actually start seeing and thinking things that really aren't even there. You look at yourself and you're like, man, I look like shit, or man, I'm fat, this, that, and you see pictures after prep and you're like, man, I look awesome. So really what I tell myself is when I start thinking that is it's not as bad as you think. It's okay, you're good. Like, I know I'm in shape. I know I'm not gonna be building muscle at this point anyway. So trying to lift super heavy to break down tissue and build muscle, I know it's not possible with how my calories are. It's easy to stay in good spirits because I know my physique is where I want it to be right now. Like, I'm in shape, I'm full, I'm not super flat. My big concern was because the muscle was tore, that I'm not gonna be able to lift and the muscle is gonna completely flatten out and I'm actually gonna lose size. That hasn't happened. So if that was the case, I think I'd be in a lot worse place. And if that were the case, I would have had to pull out. I'm not gonna step on stage and I'm not my best. So we all have our prep stories, right? But this is probably my worst one. I was in Walmart, I was shopping and I couldn't find the checkout. I was sure that I was in the front of the store. Obviously I was not. I was in the back of the store. And I was looking everywhere and couldn't find it. And to the point where I almost had to ask somebody there that worked there if they could help me get out of the place. Yeah. I wanted to ask someone, like, can you help me get out of here? There's so much difference of going low carb when you have body fat as to when you don't, right? When you have body fat and you're low carb, your body will use that as fuel. When you don't have any and you're not eating any fats, there's no fuel at all, right? Like you don't have no fuel from fats, no fuel from carbs. You're not really getting anything from protein. You're just having enough protein to be able to recover. So basically you just feel like you're just kind of going through the day floating. I mean, that's how you know you're in shape. When that shit starts happening, you know you're in shape. My shoulders have always been my best, so they take so much of the load. When I'm going super heavy, especially on a barbell, doing 5 plates on incline and stuff like that, and the next day, no chest soreness. It's all shoulders, elbows are sore, joints hurt. And so since I've tore my pec, I'm really focusing on more pressing with my chest. Once you have a good mind and muscle connection, you're able to grow so much more. So I can't say that I'm happy I tore it, because after I tore it the first time, it's just kind of a recurring thing. But if I'm trying to find a positive out of it, my chest training had to change a lot, and there's been a ton of growth from it. Because that was my worst body part forever, is my chest. And then now it's definitely catching up to, some other body parts on my shoulders and stuff like that. Right? Either way, if you're looking to just compete because you love it, you want to compete against the best. And if you're looking to win and do well, then you want to compete against the best to be able to push you. There's no reason why you should ever want to compete against guys that are worse than you. It's like going to a gym where you're the biggest guy. If you're going to the gym, you're the biggest guy in the gym, you're at the wrong gym. You're going to go to a different gym, Same thing with bodybuilding. Cool thing too is, then you see some of those guys you compete against that go on to do big things. I competed against Justin Shire. He took first in the class at Nationals. He wins the class, he takes a year off, he does a New York Pro, he takes first place, qualifies for Olympia first year as a pro. I mean, did he beat me? Yeah, but it's cool to say I stood right next to him, and now he's on the Olympia stage. You know, that's kind of stuff that's cool. That's the kind of stuff that makes you, that actually fuels you, you know? Yeah, I lost, but the guy's a pro and he already won a pro show, you know? So that's the kind of stuff that's fun, man. A cable fly. So I usually warm up with the cable fly, and then I'll end with one. Sometimes I'll start with the same cable fly that I'll end with, but obviously at the end I'm doing working sets. So that has about shoulder width, and then when I push, that kind of converges together like that. So I'm not a huge fan of how wide it is, but I do like how it converges like that. Kind of a lot like I do a dumbbell. Some people, when they do dumbbells, they just kind of press straight like a barbell would. I don't do that. With dumbbells, I do come a little wider, and then I kind of come together. I feel a ton more at the top, you know? You talk to different people that do it different ways. Jay was big into, he'll tell you when he was doing dumbbells, it's the same thing as a bench press. Straight up, straight down, and straight up. He would just keep them like that. If I do that, my shoulders completely take over. So I gotta manipulate a little bit so I feel my chest a little more. So like I was telling you, when it comes to contest prep, your mind kind of wanders, man. So like, it's gonna sound crazy, but I wake up in the morning when I look the best. I'm flattest, right? But I am the driest. And I look at myself and I'm like, damn, you got a long way to go. You know, you just, because I'm comparing myself to what I know I want to look like on stage, and I'm also comparing myself to the top guys, right? So when I'm looking at myself, my conditioning, I'm comparing my conditioning to Hottie, and I'm like, well, shit, you know, my ribs aren't strided yet. You know, Hottie just has the best condition, especially at the Arnold. This last showing would just look nasty. So I would say it's important in bodybuilding to be to have goals and be kind of know where you're at, right? You don't want to be one way or the other. You don't want to, you know, you see a lot of guys now, especially with social media, they think that they are 100 times bigger than they are, right? And then you have the other way, body dysmorphia the other way, where you just think you're tiny, think you're small, you think you're fat, whatever. I think obviously somewhere in the middle is good. I would say, you know, I got some buddies that would say that I'm negative, which is not, if you know me, that's not true at all. I'm just a realist. So when I take a look at my physique, I know what needs to come up more, right? I know I need to bring up, I know what I need to suck down a little bit more. So when I look at my physique, I'm just very realistic on what needs to come. So that's always helped me, because I know I can coach myself, and I know, okay, I need to push because I need this to come in a bit. So I would say I'm okay with where I'm at right now. I'm in a good spot. I do have a little bit to go. I would say I'm right on track. So that's the best place to be. You don't want to be too far ahead of schedule. You definitely don't want to be behind schedule. So right now I feel like I'm in a good place. So as long as I feel that way, and you know, Branch feels that way, really got nothing to worry about. I don't have usually super deep lines. This time it seems like I have a little deeper lines, which is nice. I can tell that I can tell my chest is a bit leaner. My hamstrings are a bit leaner. My quads usually like my whole lower half is one of the last things to come, but my hams are tighter. So I would say I'm definitely leaner. I started leaner, right? 16 weeks out, I probably, if I would have dieted hard, I could have been ready in 6 weeks. After this show, like I said, if I win the overall, doing nationals, the goal, I'm gonna have about a 5-month off season, but I'm gonna stay in shape. So whenever I do cut, my glutes and hamstrings are already close to where they're at now. So when it is time to diet, because I'll probably diet for 12 weeks, I'll be able to pull those in just a little bit more. There is a fine line, right? Because when you're trying to put on tissue, you're trying to put on muscle, you need to be in a caloric surplus. A decent amount, a pretty high amount, when you're, especially some of the bigger bodybuilders that have been doing it for a while, they need to push a decent amount of food. Obviously, if you're pushing a decent amount of food, your body, even if it's clean, your body fat is gonna go up. So you gotta be even more cognizant about staying in shape, keeping your weight in check. Because you start pushing 6,000 calories of clean food, you start throwing in 1 or 2 cheat meals a week in there, your weight's gonna get away from you, and you're gonna start gaining body fat pretty quick. So it's just, you gotta be very careful. There's a fine line of adding calories, but also staying in good enough shape so that you can bring those lagging body parts in. But like I said, because I have a show in December and I'm only gonna have probably a 4-month off season, realistically, I'm not gonna get fat. Now, if I were to eat shit every meal for 4 months, yes. But even if I push the calories, to 6,000 calories and I was eating 1 or 2 cheat meals a week, in 3 months, I'm not gonna get fat, right? So that's a huge benefit of at least competing once a year to be able to stay in decent shape,